Okay, so we're all familiar with sports here and how football works. The whole idea behind sports is you have this team, you have team B, team A, versus each other, right? The whole point is you're trying to go against the other team. So you're trying to score for your team. You're not going to really have a very good game at winning if you take the ball and run it to the other team's end zone. That's going to be how you score for them. That would be retarded. If we treat statists and people that we call statists, just means people that believe in a state or haven't thought about this, like they're the opposite team, we're going to run into problems. And here's why. Consider this. How many times in a conversation with somebody that you were trying to talk to about this stuff have you heard them stop and cackle maniacally and say, I love being evil, and I just can't wait to turn the world into a tyrannical police state, and I can't stand you, you angelic liberty lover who wants all of these good things. Have we ever heard anybody talk like that?
No.
No, okay. But how many times have you been accused of not caring about the poor, not caring about education, not caring about health care, not wanting nice roads? How many times have you, countless, right? Countless times. Okay. So that should tell us something, though. They think they're the good guy. So that means if we talk to them like the football team talking to the other football team, if we talk to them like they're the other team, what do you think they think we are? If they think they're the good guy from their perspective and we're coming at them like this, they're going to think we must want something that's not good. Even if we sound okay. They're going to see it as a versus thing, and it isn't that. The thing is there is an enemy in the room when you're talking to a statist, and it actually isn't the statist. It's the state, and it's in their head. So now the question is, how do you talk to somebody in a way that they don't perceive you as the bad guy? You know that you think something different than what they think now, but you can't have them see you as the enemy, or you won't be able to get anywhere. How do you get them to see that there is an actual enemy in the room, but without them realizing, well, okay, it's not me, I'm not the enemy. We can't have them thinking it's them. We can't have them thinking it's us. How do you get them to see there is an enemy, and it isn't me, and it isn't the person talking to me? So, welcome to the wedge.
I already mentioned early on the fact that how the other person perceives the conversation depends upon how you see it. If you come into it, like she said, as if they're an opposing team who needs to be defeated, you're going to accomplish pretty much nothing. If you view them as somebody that you're actually trying to help and trying to give something to, you can actually accomplish something. It is so easy on either side of any argument to view yourself as, well, here's my goodness and rightness against your badness and wrongness. And you can think, well, you have good intentions, but you're still the bad guy. So I still have to talk you out of being bad. If you see it that way, they are going to see that a reflection of the exact same thing, and they're going to view you as the bad guy. If instead you can view them as what they are, which is a good person who was taught a bad idea, you might actually be able to get through to them. You can't talk someone out of being evil. If someone is genuinely malicious, like if somebody's a sociopath, it's utterly pointless to say, well, let's sit down, I'm going to talk you into being a loving, caring human being. It doesn't work that way. And if you cannot find something good in the person you're talking to relate to talk to that, don't bother. Either find the good in them that actually wants peaceful coexistence and wants freedom and all that, and bring that out, or go talk to somebody else. But if you get in the mindset of this is the enemy, I need to defeat them, it's going to fail. It can get very difficult when they are all the way specifically advocating your extortion and oppression and everything else under a government. It's hard to not view them as the enemy when they are literally condoning aggression against you. You have to keep control of your own psychology to remember inside them is a good person, and that's what you're going for. That's what you're trying to talk to. And it's even true with the most staunch, frothing at the mouth authoritarian. There is some good in there, and weirdly enough, it is often their goodness plus the authoritarian garbage they were taught that results in their zealous statism or their zealous whatever it is they believe in. It's true of communists, it's true of fascists, it's true of everything in between. The authoritarianism where they were taught takes their good intentions and warps it into something demented and anti-human, but the goodness is still there. Now, if you can't find any goodness in a person, just don't talk to them. But even, and it's even true of enforcers of the state, of cops and soldiers. Most of them join up with good intentions, and they think they're being the good guy. And somewhere along the way, they maybe stop caring so much about that, and they care more about the gang they're in and whatever. But underneath there, if you can't find something good to talk to, you shouldn't be talking to them at all. And again, that has to do with reminding yourself, what am I hoping to accomplish? Why am I even talking to this person? You can't view them as the enemy. So I have a little graphic here, and this will show you why I call this the wedge. You cannot view the situation as that bottom one where it's you versus them. One of you is going to win and one of you is going to lose. Because what will actually happen is you'll both lose. Neither of you are going to hear anything. You're going to make no difference. You have to view it as the top one, which is that you are on the side of the real them, the virtuous them, the good them that cares about other people, that wants peaceful coexistence, that wants to respect other people and help other people. That's one team, you and the real them. The other team is the authoritarian garbage they were taught. And it's not even them. They didn't think this up. Nobody sat down and said, you know, I've carefully considered everything and I decided there should be a group of people over there violently dominating the rest of us. They were indoctrinated into this. They were taught this belief system. It makes no sense. Nobody would come up with it on their own. So that part of them isn't even them. It's garbage that has been pounded into their head from outside sources. There is an enemy, but the enemy isn't there. The enemy is all the influence that made them believe a lie, which is now perverting and warping their good intentions into a bad outcome. What you need to do is drive that wedge between who they really are and the garbage they were taught. That is the entire goal, to get them to see that contradiction between the voluntarist that's the real them. They really want to own themselves. They don't want to be an aggressor and a thief and a thug. Versus the authoritarian stuff they were taught of, well, you have to be beholden to, you have to obey the law and do and pay your taxes and blah, 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 and we all vote, and all the mythology they were taught to trick them into supporting and believing in authoritarian control. That is the enemy, but it isn't theirs. It didn't come from them. It was a lie they were taught. And if you keep in your head at all times, I am talking to a voluntarist who was taught a lie. And my goal is to bring out the real them and crush the lie by letting them see the lie and letting them choose to escape the lie. So instead of you're in a boxing ring, there's you and there's them and you duke it out until somebody wins, there's a boxing ring. There is them versus the garbage they were taught, and you're there being a cheerleader for them. And if you do this method right and you go through the lines of questioning right, they will feel the whole time that you're on their side. You are reinforcing the real them and what they really want and what they really believe in. You don't ever have to give them your beliefs or your values or your priorities. They already have inside them everything they need. Your goal is to drive a wedge between the real them and the garbage and act as a cheerleader and a support system for the part of them that wants to be free. Invite out of them their own freedom. Invite them to embrace their own freedom and encourage that, and they won't feel any need to be defensive or argue with you or fight with you, because they'll know every step of the way you're actually on their side. It's not your beliefs versus their beliefs. It's their beliefs versus their beliefs. The disagreement is entirely inside their head. That is where the fight has to take place. And there will be a fight there, and it won't be very fun for them, but if you can be there and sort of set the stage for that fight with you encouraging the real them to come out and agreeing with it. And you're going to see when we go through the specific lines of questioning later on, the only time I ever want you to let your own opinions be part of the discussion is when you agree with something they said. Like, do you think it's okay for people to, rob their neighbor for whatever they want? No, of course not. Yeah, I agree. That's not okay. And the reason for that is every single step of the way, they're going to hear, okay, this person's on my side, this person's on my side, this person's on my side. Don't ever argue about your virtues versus theirs. You don't need to do that, and you'll make it into an argument. Every time you reinforce the goodness in them, and then when you bring them up face to face with the fact that their goodness does not match the authoritarianism they were taught, they know they have an ally. They know you're on their side. They don't have to get mad at you or defensive. You're there helping them resist the evil that is not in the room. It was stuff they were taught before. But to do that, you have to connect with the goodness inside them, and you have to remember that that's what you're trying to talk to. The goal is not to defeat them. The goal is to free them.
Larken, I've muted your mic just for a second so I can let everybody who's watching the stream know to visit tinyurl.com/candles email to be notified when the full video is made available. Thanks for tuning into this preview.